is going live. All that time just to do that. I've got to have some tea. It's going live and there's no one watching. And I've got to get all my candles burning. Oh, that is infuriating. I'm just going to wait till there's a few more people and then I'll blow my candles out. And then I think I'll go and have a lie down in a dark room. It's the most ridiculous day I've ever had in my life. I'm so sorry that this hasn't worked properly. It's so incredibly annoying. So because I would like to be able to, hello. Yes, there we go. Yes, it's working now, annoyingly. But then how do I pop out, chat, talk of the times here, live? There's some people watching. Thank you. I'm not going to touch anything. I must have brushed the touchpad on the laptop. I brushed the touchpad on the laptop and it just went, and there I haven't even got my microphone in, so you can't hear me properly. I'm going to do this now. Thank you. Oh, there's lots of you. I'm amazed because you've had to run around. You're giving us the run around. Oh, you're not kidding. God, imagine how slick this could have been if I'd had the team here to help me. And I'm going to thank them in a moment. But anyway, this is to thank you, the viewers of Fully Charged, for all the hours and hours you've spent watching our shows over the last 10 years. Absolutely amazing. Happy birthday, Fully Charged. Oh, what a relief. Now the place is absolutely full of smoke. It's just, but... so thank you so much. Thank you so much, all of you. I'm just going to do a very quick thing now where I thank everyone and I just talk about very briefly. It's very brief. It's not going to be long, but so this show started 10 years ago as an experiment. That's the important thing. And I'd forgotten this. I had to really rack my brains to think about it. So about 11 years ago, I went to the BBC in London to pitch the idea of a show about electric vehicles and renewable energy. And they didn't know what I was talking about. Sat in a big room with a big table, loads of people, all really enthusiastic, with the producer of at that time, the producer of Top Gear. And so it had a really good track record. You know, he was really interested in doing it. It was going to happen. It was all marvelous. No, they hadn't got a clue. So that was 2009. Anyway, it never happened. So then I thought, well, I'll make it myself. But looking back over that 10 years, here's an important thing. In 2009-10, I've just found this out and you can see this on another episode. We were using coal to generate 60% of our electricity in 2010. 60%. And now it's either nothing, which it would be today, or a maximum of about 2%. So it really has changed. So electricity's got a lot cleaner in that time. Solar panels have got a lot cheaper in that time. Electric cars have stayed about the same cost, but they go further. There's a long, complicated story behind that. In 2010, it cost $1,500 to build 1 kilowatt hour of battery pack. It now costs about $140. It's got a lot cheaper. So I was talking about all these kind of notions to the BBC, and they said, we've already got Top Gear. So that's kind of when I gave up. Actually, I will just read this bit out because this was a suggestion I made. I said, what about we convert a catering van to run on solar power and batteries and then drive around villages in the south of England cooking Michelin-starred meals for choirs who then sing for their solar supper. And the BBC loved that idea because it had singing, it had cooking, and the van was irrelevant. Yeah. So they like singing, they like choirs, and they like cooking. So we never did that, but maybe one day we'll do an episode like that on Fully Charged. Anyway, what will happen now is you'll turn on the telly in a few months' time and you'll see a show made by the hairy bikers or Jamie Oliver in a solar-powered van, and he's cooking for choirs. But remember, you heard it here first. So anyway, that was the thing. So lots and lots of stuff has happened, as you can imagine, in that 10 years. So 10 years ago, there was one rapid charger in the UK, which was in Cirencester, not far from where I live, about 35 miles from where I live. That was the only one. There's now, I think, 12,500. So that's really good. And Fully Charged has really grown. When we first started Fully Charged, it took 2 years to get to 1 million views, aggregated views of all the episodes we'd made up to that point. The second million took 6 months. So it was 2 years to get 1 million, 6 months to get the second million, and we now average about 2 million a month on average, just about. It's gone a bit quiet. It's gone a bit quiet lately because of the the thing. Yeah. So anyway, we did an episode about I first drove all the cars that I've driven have been featured on the show. So like first time I drove a Model S, Tesla Model S, first time I drove all of these amazing stuff, a lot of amazing opportunities. I want to thank some really key people who have helped the show over the years, and they probably aren't watching this because they're all too busy. They're all too successful and busy. But a few key people. It's been a long, slow, and very organic growth period, but it's been helped along the way, all the way through. Because as you've just witnessed, technologically, I'm a little bit challenged. I'm just going to check that's going. So there's 698 of you. I will answer some questions in a moment. Just let me do this. So I want to thank these people. So really early on, when I first started it, and including when I started doing Carpool, I was really helped by a group called Channel Flip, a company called Channel Flip, set up by Will Harris and Justin Gaynor. And they were amazing and really helped me to get the first sort of step going. And also I was helped a lot by lovely Jeremy Pack and Ellie Garrod, who worked for Channel Flip at the time. Channel Flip no longer exists, but they're amazing early video producers. Oren O'Carroll at Studio 71, who's really just such a bright lad and young. Do you know what? Sometimes you can hate young, really talented people. It is possible. More recently, Mark Taylor Hankins and Johnny Smith. Amazing stuff that I did with Mark and Johnny. They were absolutely incredible. As many of you know, they have now left the show and they're off doing their own thing, which is heartbreaking for me, but I totally understand it, and it's really brilliant what they're doing. And the last time I saw both of them, just in case people have got the wrong idea, the last time I saw both of them, which was just before lockdown, we had a big hug when we saw each other. No, they were absolutely amazing. Now, since in the more recent past, Dan Caesar, who has created this incredible series of live events. So we've done 2 live events in the UK. We did one in Texas this year when some of you will know, I was unwell and couldn't attend in the end, which was quite extremely frustrating. This was pre-lockdown just about, and I wasn't unwell with COVID-19. It was a gentleman's waterworks issue, which is now resolved and fine. I have had cameras everywhere, and I don't want to go into it. I like cameras on the outside of my body. Let's leave it there. So I would very much like to thank him. Ben, so all the team that I'm working with now, just amazing group of people. They work so hard, so incredibly hard. So Ben, James, George, Andy, Stuart, who's been with us for a long time. Stuart is incredible. Stuart Lansley, just amazing. And Ben, who is just I don't know how he does it. I do not know how he does it, because he's worked so hard on the show. It's incredible. And also, I don't want to go on about it because it's his own private life, but he has been very ill with the disease. Ben Bruton I can't even speak. Ben Bruton Cox has been a mainstay of Fully Charged, and he has had COVID-19 for the last sort of 6 weeks. He's been really ill. It's not something you want to get. So that has really been hard for everyone, but especially him. He has 3 young children, his wife and 3 young children. It's been a real tough thing. He now doesn't have it. He's just had a test, and he's had the results, and he does not have coronavirus, which is quite a relief, I can tell you. So that is, I just wanted to thank all those wonderful people, and it's wonderful that you're all cameras. Well, there is no need to ask about it. Oh, I see. Oh God, if you say the word "arse," which is very rude, and there may be children watching, it gets highlighted by Google. Boy, yes, flies already. It's so many questions coming up. I'm so pleased that I'm doing this on 2 streaming services, YouTube Live and Twitter. And now, without doubt, I'll just tell the people on Twitter that YouTube are winning. I was trying to make it a competition. There are 202 people watching on Twitter, and there's 836 on YouTube. So that's very nice. Actual question. One of the biggest problems with electric trucks is batteries are too heavy. Do you think we will have much lighter batteries or use hydrogen instead? Because we haven't seen yet any large trucks with batteries. I mean, they definitely exist. Tesla, Nikola trucks, Mercedes are making big trucks with batteries. Volvo are making big trucks with big batteries. There's some mining equipment trucks where the batteries weigh 7 or 8 tons, and they're very efficient and they work very well. So it's hard to say because trucks are big and heavy, aren't they? So I would not want to put my money on either. I think it makes more sense to have hydrogen fuel cells in big trucks if you're going to use hydrogen at all. So I think that I understand, but I think I wouldn't dismiss battery trucks that quickly. I think it's possible. The one thing we know is that batteries are getting cheaper, smaller, more energy dense, and lighter. And there's lots of new materials being developed, as was revealed on will be revealed, or is it gone out yet? A podcast soon. What do you think will be mainstream for renewables or battery tech 10 years that isn't now? It's battery tech. Battery tech. I'm getting questions from Twitter as well as YouTube. In fact, they're asking better questions. No, they're not. They're all lovely. I think we will see the big changes in battery technology. I think that's where the biggest changes are going to be, in terms of cost and size and energy density and materials, particularly materials that they're made from. So I've just been talking to people who are working on graphene based batteries that use graphene. And if you don't know what graphene is, I'm not clever enough to tell you, but if you Google it, you'll find out. So carbon on carbon batteries. I think it's going to be 10 years before we see them. But there's no question that storing electricity is the thing that's going to change everything. So obviously for electric cars, there's great advantages. If you've got a car with a 2,000 or 3,000 mile range, in a battery that's the same size and weight as batteries are today, that's not impossible. It's not going to happen yet, but in 10 years' time. But what you'll have is a smaller battery that's even lighter, that has a 500 mile range. So that's all exciting. Yes, I mean, the thing is, the driving forces, and this is what I was talking about this afternoon on at the conference I was involved in for Solar Edge. Solar Edge are a company that make inverters and solar systems for domestic and industrial use. And it's just that they're around the world, there are so many governments pressuring motor manufacturers, delivery companies, vans, bikes, motorbikes, all those things to start to be electric. You can't come into the city if you're going me on your moped or in your truck or in your car. We've got to stop that. That's just wrong. It's just simply wrong. In the US, we really enjoy seeing you on what was called Junkyard Wars. Junkyard Wars. I love Junkyard Wars. It was Scrap Heap Challenge in this country. Junkyard Wars in America. We are hoping, multiple fingers crossed, and we are working on it, that we will do a version of a sort of version of Scrap Heap Challenge, which we're going to do this year. We're not going to do it this year now, where we use old car batteries, motors, motor controllers, all that stuff to make a machine that isn't a car. So wrecked cars, using the batteries out of those and making something else like Scrap Heap. But Zap Heap Challenge is coming to a screen near you in the next 18 months, we hope. We're quite far down the road planning it, so it's very exciting. What do you personally own and drive? So I personally own a Nissan Leaf, and that's it. A 2011 Nissan Leaf is a car I own. It's mine. Don't look at it. It's all mine. We lease a Tesla Model 3, all-wheel drive long range, and a Hyundai Kona electric cars. So we only have electric cars, but we lease those, so those will eventually go back. But the Nissan Leaf I own and I will keep until the day I'm planted in an organic basket under a tree. What cars will you test in China? Really exciting. So coming up immediately after this broadcast, this live broadcast, is an episode where I talk to Elliot Richards, who is our Shanghai correspondent. And this week, we'll be putting out 2 reviews that he shot for us in Shanghai. One is for the, now he calls it the Xiaopeng. and we'd call it the Xpeng P7, which is very like a Tesla Model 3. Very like it. And then he's doing a car called the Aura 1, I think, which is an amazing little car. And this is a really important point. This car in China today cost less than £7,000 for a brand new, all-electric, small runabout. So he's doing a review of that, and that will come out either later this week or first thing next week. So yeah, and we've got a lot more stuff coming from China, because what is happening in China, we have to accept, is absolutely amazing in terms of technology. Maybe there's one or two other issues. I don't need to go into those, but their technology and their transition from burning coal, which is what everyone in the West likes to moan about. Oh, they burn loads of coal. They're burning constantly less coal. They have the largest installation of renewables anywhere on Earth. Last year, the sum total of solar panels distributed around the world, installed around the world, doubled, and it doubled entirely because of China. So there we go. The Tata Nano electric car is only £1,000 brand new. Thank you, Alkesh, for telling me that. Yes, well, they're not. Yes, then yes. No, I would love to. We did try. If you go through our episodes, we definitely have done a couple of Tata cars. That's amazing. If that is true, and it's literally a new car that cost £1,000, it's extraordinary. On my bike, rusted solid. Wow. I didn't know that could happen. Wow. Tidy up the white cable. The white cable shouldn't be. That's the router. Oh, I'll tell you why that's there. So that it goes through the wall and the Tesla can have it for a software update on the Tesla. And I haven't taken it down. I'm so ashamed of the cable. It's so wrong. It shouldn't be there. Over 1,000 views. Yes, we have over 1,000 viewers live. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your congratulations. That is wonderful. I'm not going to go on for too long, because I'm going to release now the episode with oh goodness me, no, it's already live. Why am I even talking about it? The team, you see, the team I work with, brilliant. They're on the case 24/7. They don't let the old idiot down. I'm just the fully charged would rocket ahead technologically if it wasn't held back by the old bald idiot. Anyway, release rod. Get your ironing done. This shirt, I ironed this shirt. It's. I've been wearing it. It's a shirt I'm ironed. Yeah. It's fully wireless. Yes. Congrats on getting a China driver on the team. I know, isn't he lovely, Elliot? He's fabulous. Yeah, and we're really looking forward to. I mean, it's really tough what we've asked him to do. The Twitter people, I have been ignoring you. What was the defining moment which made you so enthusiastic about renewable energy? Okay, that's a good question. That's a good question coming in from Twitters. The defining thing, I think, was the day that I charged. I tell you what it was. Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I drove when I first got my Nissan Leaf. There's an episode about it. I drove from here down into Dorset. It was 98 miles, so it was at the absolute limit of what the Leaf could do. And I plugged the car into a water mill that was generating huge amounts of electricity, enough electricity to run a village. And I charged the car there while I met the people and had a cup of tea and a piece of cake. It was lovely, beautiful place. And I drove back. And when I did that, I went, this has never been done by human beings before, that you use a complex machine that does something really useful, drives you along the road, and nothing has been burnt to make that journey possible. And so once I got solar panels on my roof here, then I started to charge the car with solar panels. And that is a game changer. When you fill a car up with solar energy and you don't spend a penny to do it, and it's not easy, and I can't do it all year round, and yes, not in the winter and only on sunny days, and all those caveats apply, but you can do it, and you cannot do it in a fossil burning combustion car. That's really thing. Bidirectional V to G, vehicle to grid. Your thoughts? Ooh, I don't know if I've got any thoughts. I have got lots of thoughts about that. I think it's very important. I think it will grow in importance. I do have a vehicle to grid charge unit here. At the moment, it's technologically restricted and held back by the motor manufacturers because they're nervous about what's going to happen to the batteries. But all the evidence is showing that low level, gentle charging and discharging of a battery is not as damaging as people first imagined. Batteries last longer than we thought. So I think it's going to be a vitally important resource. The National Grid are praying for 2 to 3 million cars to be plugged in at any one time in the UK, because that is the equivalent of about 4 nuclear power stations of backup power they can call on like that. It's a really important aspect of electric vehicles. You saw 2 Taycans today, Tristan. Tristan, I cannot believe you saw 2. I've seen 1. I've never seen 2. So they've definitely made more than 1 then, because I've only ever seen 1 at a time. What do you think about car sales? Do you think electric car sales will overtake petrol and diesel? Probably not to the end of this decade, but I think it will happen in the UK and in Europe, definitely. Oh, versus Model 3. So should go for the semi. Yes, the range thing is it's a difficult discussion. Robert, you just broke YouTube. I don't think I did. It's only 1.2. I'm sure if Marcus Brownlee did a live unboxing of the new Samsung Galaxy, he'd have more than 1. Let's keep it all real. But anyway, God, there's so many things. What are your thoughts on green number plates? Yes, green number plates. I'm actually not anxious about it. I think that it has a place. I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't think it's it's not going to change that much. It will make some aspects of having an electric car easier, because a lot of electric cars look like a car. The Vauxhall Corsa E, I've just test driven that. The episode comes out next week. You wouldn't know that was an electric car unless you really were obsessive and you looked at the tiny little badge. It says right at the end. There's not much that tells you about it. You've got to kind of lie on the floor and see if there's an exhaust pipe. That's the only way you'd know. So it has and you park that in where you can charge an electric car and you plug it in. But it helps to have electric cars can use bus lanes or carpool lanes in the United States. All those things. I don't see it's that bad. And it's not like the whole number plate isn't green. It's just a green stripe at the end, isn't it? So, but if you didn't want it, I suppose you could just put a bit of tape over it. I don't know, really. I mean, it sort of doesn't seem like that important either way round. Have you ever taken a ride on an electric scooter? Yes, I do. So we're about to shoot an episode where I will be on an electric scooter if all the plans go right, and Andy Talbot will be on a mono wheel. I'm not going on that. No, sorry, no. It's just too dangerous for a man my age. You can get a solar panel. You can get about 5 kilometers per panel per day. Oh, okay. Can you? Let me see. I mean, I do about, on a good sunny day, 32 kilowatt hours from my 16 panels. I'm glad I've got a pen and paper. So and 32 kilowatt hours, hang on. And I've just been driving the Tesla Model 3 and getting 5 miles to the kilowatt hour. How do I do? Can someone do the maths? Come on, it's a really good question. If I've got 32 kilowatt hours of charge in my batteries and I do 5 miles to the kilowatt hour, how many miles can I drive on 32 kilowatt hours? You just multiply 32 by 5. I can't do that. 2 miles. Yes, I don't think that's quite right. 10 miles. No, because I can do 5 miles on each one. Wait a minute. 5 threes, 15, 150 miles. Anyway. God, it's 160. Thank you. That looks right. So I can drive 160 miles from a day's charge if I put all the power I get off my solar panels into the car. Oh, look, Twitter. The people on Twitter came up with the answers first, YouTubers. Yes. Will there be more about electric diggers, farm tractors, and so on? That was a question from, I can't see your name. I'm sorry, from Twitter, too far away. But really good question. Yes, I'm begging Adam Henson. British TV viewers will know who that is. lovely Adam is a neighbor of mine, and well, neighbor, he's about 2 miles away. It's quite close. And he's got a farm, and I've got an electric tractor, and I want to try it out on his farm. So yes, there are electric tractors coming. Any news about the VW ID3? Only that they've made about 200,000 of them already. So they're coming out later this year. 10 miles per panel. Thank you. So 10 miles per panel. Is that how that works out? Oh, yes. 16 panels, 160 miles, 10 miles per panel. Woo! Let me see. Twitter versus YouTube question war. There's far less people watching on Twitter, which I fully understand, because they've been watching for hours. Because when I was setting up the cameras and trying to sort all this out, I accidentally pressed start on my on Twitter, which is tragic. When I was mounting the camera on the camera mount, tragic failure. Electric ships and airplanes. Electric ships, definitely. Electric airplanes, I think they're going to be hybrids. Certainly in my lifetime, I won't see a fully electric plane like fly the Atlantic. That's not going to happen in my lifetime. It's not that it's not going to happen ever, because who knows? Never say never. But I can certainly see in my lifetime, that's if I hang around for a few more years, quite large passenger planes that take off with electricity, land with electricity, but fly the distance between A and B with a jet, which doesn't fire up until they're up in the air, till they're at like 10,000 feet. That is not impossible. I've spoken to numerous aeronautical engineers about that concept. And the reason there's a lot of pressure for them to be able to do that is it would mean they had access to airports 24 hours a day, which would increase their potential profitability. All that, I think we can all accept now, is open to question, isn't it, really? Because who knows what's going to happen with it, with airliners. And what about the VW ID4? I haven't seen it. That's a good one. Milk or cornflakes first. I don't eat cornflakes, but I've just bought some today for the first time in probably 20 years. I would have cornflakes first, then I add the milk. I don't put the milk in the bowl and then add cornflakes. Sorry, couldn't do that. ID4, don't know, haven't seen it yet. Know that it could be really brilliant. I've had Volkswagens for most of my life, so I think they're brilliant cars. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Yes, Pipistrel electric planes just got certified worldwide. So there are electric planes now. What I'm talking about is larger electric planes. So there's the electric float plane in, I believe, Seattle, that is doing now commercial flights with passengers. Will you still swap your Nissan Leaf battery? Yes, when I'm allowed to get to Amsterdam. So as soon as I can get to Amsterdam, I will be doing that. Yes, I loved Concorde. I grew up listening to Concorde fly. All the test flights were over my house when I was a child. It was quite noisy, but my agent, and I'm a really low level, I'm sort of in her scum folder. She has real proper famous people on her books. She's a wonderful woman. Anyway, my agent was flown to New York for a breakfast meeting on Concorde, had the meeting, went back to the airport, got on the plane, flew back home, didn't have jet lag. New York, took 3 hours to get there, 3 hours to get back. Oh, yeah, she's the only person I know who went on it. She said it was very noisy, but amazing. Yeah, and you could see the curvature of the Earth because it was at 60,000 feet, I believe. So it was an amazing achievement. A European achievement, just saying. Back phone, right, I can't see electric planes taking off. Badumch. Great gag from the Twitters. That was very good. Hey, Robert, is it possible to convert a Passat hybrid to fully electric? Yes, I think you should. I don't know if it is possible. It's certainly possible to convert an enormous amount of cars to electric drive. We work with a company called we filmed a company called New Electric who convert existing cars to electric, and also electric classic cars. Richard in Wales, he's doing an amazing job. So there's a new TV series coming soon, I believe, like on Discovery or one of those channels, and it's called why can't I remember the name? It's got a really good name. Electric Classics. It's called Vintage Voltage. Boom! Bobby remembers a name. Back of the net. Vintage Voltage coming soon. We've featured about 3 of his cars. So we did a Porsche, a Volkswagen Beetle, Range Rover. Amazing. And he's doing amazing things. So yeah, that's I'm looking forward. Yes, I am very much looking forward to the Fiat 500e. Sorry, I keep looking at the Twitter questions, but yes, definitely. On Quest, it's on Quest. Thank you. Twitter knew where it was on. Vintage Voltage on Quest. There we go. 160 miles equals 10 miles per panel. Thank you. If I was here all day just waffling, I'd get all the answers to all the things I can't remember. Will you climb up a North Sea wind generator? I probably will at some point in my life, even though I'm terrified to death of it. I developed late onset vertigo. I didn't know. I never had vertigo when I was young. I went up the World Trade Center. I had a burger at the top, looking over the edge. That was quite a tall building. So I've been up loads of tall buildings, but when I went up a chimney at Draxby Power Station in North Yorkshire, North Yorkshire people will know where that is. You can see it from 60, 70, 80 miles away. It's a huge chimney on the coast, North Yorkshire coast, biggest coal-burning power plant in the country, and a massive chimney. And we went up that chimney to film piece to camera at the top, and it moved around in the wind. That was not fun. And I got all, so yeah, no, it's not fun having vertigo. Would you live in a nacelle if it were possible? Probably not. Probably quite noisy and wibbly wobbly. Could Red Dwarf be converted to electric? Well, I did discuss that with. It's a hydrogen fueled plane ship. Red Dwarf, the Jupiter mining ship. Red Dwarf is actually the big spiky things at the front are collecting hydrogen because there is hydrogen particles in deep space. Don't ask me. I was told that. Yes, I would love to do a piece on the Nikola truck. I mean, it might not be me doing it. It might be someone in America. But as and when it becomes a featurable physical thing that we can see, they're doing a lot of interesting stuff. So many interesting companies coming out. I mean, certainly Rivian, we're definitely doing a lot of stuff with them. Tesla Cybertruck definitely is absolutely extraordinary. So, we're going to be shooting stuff in America and China. I mean, I think the way we've decided to go in the future is, I did a lot of travel in relation to Fully Charged for a few years, and it just felt wrong. And so what we're trying to do is find people in the countries where there's a lot going on. So South Korea, China, Japan, the United States, lots of European countries. I can get to most of the European countries because I can drive there if I'm allowed through the tunnel. So there we go. But yes, definitely electric cruise ships, anything being done. I mean, the interesting thing is cruise ships are already electric. The actual drive that moves a cruise ship along is an electric motor and a big propeller underwater. But the electricity is generated by a massive diesel generators burning some pretty rubbish oil. So it will be, the only possibility I can see is really massive hydrogen fuel cells and a way of generating hydrogen. I can't see it. We can go through the tunnel now, can we? Oh, good. Will you ever interview Elon Musk? If we ever got the chance, I certainly wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say no. He'd be an amazing person to talk to. I have met him once, very briefly. Went before he was a well-known figure, and he was charming. But our conversation lasted a full 15. I'm going to flatter myself and go as far as 20 seconds. It was pretty brief. But so yes, no, I certainly would if it could be arranged. But he's under a lot of demand, and lots of people want to interview him. And he gets an enormous amount of PR. I'd quite like to interview the other people behind Tesla, the engineers and the designers and people like that would be equally interesting. If I wasn't going to say, if not more so, I'm not going to say anything bad about anyone. They're all lovely. And his vision is mind-bogglingly incredible. Definitely historic. He's a historic character. People will be talking about Elon Musk in 200 years' time. No question about it. There's so many things about it. Do you think any of Red Dwarf's boys would join you on Fully Charged as a presenter? Can see Danny in a pink zero bike. Well, he's been, Danny has done an episode of Fully Charged in a pink jumpsuit, motorbike suit on an early electric motorbike, which he loved. And we certainly would be, if there was any chance of getting him to, I'm talking to Danny today. He rang me up earlier on today. One of the reasons I'm a bit late, because Danny had a lot to tell me. Space travel seems no. Oh God, can you imagine? It means more hydrogen could be coming back to Earth. Oh, do you think hydrogen-fueled cars will become more mainstream? I honestly, the longer it goes on, I honestly don't think so. Okay, I'm going to do a quick thing about hydrogen fuel cell cars. First car I ever drove on fully charged Tesla Roadster, battery electric car. Second car I ever drove on fully charged was a Honda Clarity, hydrogen fuel cell car. Both brilliant cars. To be honest, the Honda Clarity was a lot more comfortable. And it was absolutely brilliant. But at the time, it cost a little over $1 million to make that car. So, incredibly, just crazy expensive. But amazing technology. But it hasn't caught on in that 10 years since I've been doing that. There aren't hydrogen fueling stations all over the country. I recently got a lift when I was making the most recent Red Dwarf. I got a ride in a hydrogen fuel cell Toyota Mirai, a limousine car. And it was great. And I talked to the guy and he loved it. He said it's a brilliant car to drive. But two of the hydrogen fueling stations that he would normally have used were offline. They'd broken down. They needed attention. Then no one had fixed them. So we had to drive 40 miles out of London to fill the tank and 40 miles back. Well, that isn't quicker than plugging a car in and charging it. So I cannot see it happening yet. And the speed that the battery recharging infrastructure is happening is just mind-boggling. So there we go. What car purchase do you most regret? Okay, well, that is an interesting question. Never been asked that before. It was, and this is nothing to do with the car. It was the first time I ever bought a new car. And I was, what would I have been? About 45, maybe older. Maybe 48. No, wait a minute. When the children were about 8. Oh, no, much older. No, knocking 50. I'd never bought a new car. I bought second-hand ones, third hand, fifth hand. So I bought a new car. It was called a Volkswagen Golf R32. If you don't know what that is, Google it. It's basically a sensible, small family hatchback Golf with a truck engine in it and four-wheel drive. It was the racing boys' footballer car. Lisa Rogers, who I did Scrappy with, just laughed and laughed when she saw me in it because she said, that's a footballer car and you're not a footballer, you sad old man. Something along those lines. And she was absolutely right. Amazing car. But what was immediately apparent was the moment I drove it out, and I literally drove it out of the showroom. I always remember it when it had a brilliant engine sound. Drove it out of the showroom. They lifted the sliding doors and I would have lost 10 grand. £10,000 at that moment. It was worth immediately 10,000 less than when I bought it. And that was just the most crazy thing to buy. And it wasn't a sensible car. We had two teenage children at the time, or certainly, like 10, 12, 13, that kind of age. And it was pretty uncomfortable in the back and really noisy. So when we went on long drives, they would complain because the exhaust was so loud. But, I love driving it. But I did regret that. Why buy a new car? And now, with all the electric cars and all the stuff about electric cars, I know they last longer. They're all going to last longer than any of the combustion cars any of us have ever owned. And they'll maintain their value more. But it's still quite a big thing to buy. It's an extraordinarily expensive thing to buy. It's just extraordinary. I'm amazed at how many cars are sold. But most of them are leased. I lease the cars. I couldn't have afforded to buy a Tesla Model 3. And before that, I had a Tesla Model S, which there's no way I could have afforded to buy that. I mean, sometimes people think that old bloke over there, he's on the telly, he must be a multi-millionaire. I just want to underline the fact that's not true. But I'm very lucky, not complaining, but to buy a car for 60, 70,000 pounds, just like you're kidding. My house cost 55,000 pounds. Okay, it was 30 years ago, but that was a lot of money. Massive mortgage, terrifying. Anyway, enough of that. I'm not going to go on for much long. Can we go storm chasing in the Cybertruck? I would like to go storm chasing. I'm a bit scared, but I would like to. I've never seen one of those things like you have in America. I would do something unpleasant in the lower regions, I think, if I saw one of those. I don't know if I want to chase it, want to run the other way. When you make a hiss sound, why do you make a hiss sound when you laugh? You might have lung cancer because you smoke dirty, polluting cigarettes. Well, that's interesting, Adam. That's an interesting comment, isn't it, for Adam to make? I used to smoke, admittedly. I stopped in 1989. So I haven't done it for quite a long time. And I don't know what you mean about the hissing sound. I guess it's that. But it's very nice for you to suggest that I have lung cancer. Thank you for that. I don't. I've had so many tests in the last 6 months, and I know I don't have that. So anyway, Tesla buys Honda Swindon plant. Any news? Wouldn't it be brilliant if they did? Have you heard that? I've not even heard that as a rumor. So it would be so good if they did buy that, because a lot of really skilled people work there, and it's heartbreaking that this is going to happen a lot. I'm afraid the car industry is going to go through some really nasty periods. Just, if you use swear words, I don't want to encourage you to use swear words on YouTube comments, but they get like blocked if you do. What about proton flow batteries? Proton flow batteries? Oh my God, I've not even heard that. So my friend Simon in Australia is one of the big investors in red flow batteries, which are flow batteries. So, tank, and it goes through a fuel cell, and that generates electricity. Brilliant technology, really used more for supporting computer server farms, mobile phone, remote mobile phone towers, things like that. Really clever stuff, though. He started to use LG Chem batteries in the UK. I don't know. That's a really good question. A really clever person who knows all about it. I know people who would know that. I don't know it. I'm really sorry. You're the coolest nun I know. Take that. Then you must know some very uncool people. That's very sweet, though. I appreciate it. Thank you. Please do an off-road video on Akromoto. Would love to see you covered in mud. I would love to. I would enjoy that a great deal. Yes, I have been covered in mud on numerous occasions, but quite often because someone on Scrappy pushed me into a massive puddle. No, God, there's so many things now. Okay. No, there's so many questions coming in. An area of the globe that fully charged hasn't traveled to, but you would like to. Well, that's a good question from Twitter. Which area of because I have been around a lot for a fully charged. China clearly is pretty critically, staggeringly important in this, and we're going to be very aware of Chinese electric cars coming to Europe. I don't know if you know about Chinese buses. When you see an electric bus, it's built in China, in this country. So, BYD, if you see a bus with BYD on the front, it's a Chinese company that make those buses. So, and delivery vans, they're really going to be big on delivery vans. So we're going to see electric delivery vehicles in cities really as in universal. That's what people use long before we see a lot more electric cars are going to be first. Scrappy Challenge electric Christmas special, socially distanced. I wish we could do it. I wish. I don't think we're going to have time before Christmas. If we get the chance, I'm going to go for it full on. Will you be doing a feature on Tesla's battery day? Yes, whenever it is. Do we know when it is yet? Does anyone know when Tesla's battery day is going to be? It's been talked about a lot. So yes, that's one of the things about electric buses can go up hills. Yes, someone said that, and you don't need to change gear and burn more stuff. Boris said we are building electric buses in the UK, so it must be true. Well, there are companies that are building electric buses in the UK and electric delivery vans, and it will happen. But I think we've got to accept that the Chinese are so ahead of everybody else in the world on this. Not necessarily on the software. That's still, America is very good on that, and chip design and the control systems. That is very much, particularly Tesla at the fore in those areas. But in terms of just bulk mass production of electric vehicles that are cheaper, the Chinese, it's going to be very hard to compete against the Chinese. I think everyone knows that. Yes, we're doing more videos on e-bikes. Someone just asked that, definitely. And the electric drive-in cinema, someone's mentioned, which we are planning to do later this year. We are planning on 3 locations for the electric drive-in cinema. So this will be indoors only electric cars can come. We're going to try and run the film projection off electric cars using vehicle-to-grid systems. There will be electrically car-y themed, but car themed, but new movies, maybe some sci-fi, maybe some action and adventure. So new release films indoors. So it doesn't matter about the weather. And but you can only come in an electric car. So exciting. So exciting. So the first one we know will be at Farnborough, where we were going to do the live show this year, and where we will do the live show next year. He says with enormous confidence that the entire crisis that the world is going through will be fully resolved by this time next year. I think it will be better. We'll have worked it out by then. E-scooters. I think anything that stops people using a petrol car in a city or a diesel car in a city is essentially a good thing. It might need a bit of gentle regulation so that if you're walking down a street and someone's going down at 30 miles an hour on an electric scooter, they don't hit you. I think that's fairly good. Get Chris Barry to Tesla. I don't think I could. Do you know, I wonder if he would go in it. When I park the Tesla near Chris when we're doing Red Dwarf, he actually stands there and he goes, he wants to keep me away. He thinks they're the devil's work. It's not a real car. It's devil's magic. Right, here we go. So how is the Powerwall that you have performing until this day? Well, it's been performing very well. I'm just wondering now if you know something about after this day it won't work again. It's fine. It's doing amazingly well. It's been incredible. In fact, we just discussed that we were just going through bills last weekend, and we realized we hadn't had an electricity bill since February. Now, we will get one. It's not that we haven't used any grid electricity, but it's so little that it isn't worth them generating a bill until it reaches a certain amount. So because it's been very sunny here, our average consumption from the grid is about between 3 and 5% of our total consumption. So 95 to 97% of our electricity, these lamps that are on now, are all being powered by solar through the battery. So it's not sunny at the moment, so it's just coming off the battery. So yes, they work very well. They work very well indeed. Going lightning, good charge up. I know we actually had a power cut here due to a thunderstorm 2 days ago, and we didn't even know. We didn't know. It's only when our neighbours told us afterwards, because we've got a system. It's like there's a recent episode on Fully Charged. I can't believe now. I think I'm going to say goodbye to the lovely Twitter folks, because there's 99 of you there. I'm really impressed. You've been there for ages. I dread to think how long that is. So I'm going to say goodbye to them, but I'll stay here for a bit. But I will go soon, because I've been trying to do this for an hour. I know they're stuffed up right at the beginning. Let me just get that. So I'm just going to say, thundering here, bye-bye. But I'm just saying bye-bye to look at it. They're all lovely on there. That's very sweet. Thank you very much. Very good of you to watch. If you want to carry on watching, you can go on YouTube and find Fully Charged Show and watch there. But, you've done well to last this long. But it's been lovely to talking to you. And thank you for sticking with me while I was messing up right at the beginning. You're all lovely. And that's all for now. Bye. There we go. I don't know how many people watch that. Let me see. Okay, 13,000 in total. Yeah, that's quite shocking. Terrifying, really. But that's not all at once. Not all at once. That's over the entire period that I was doing it, which was much longer than I've been doing this. Should London remove the need to register? Wait a minute. I'll go back to that one. Oh, no, it's gone away. Should register your EV each year for a £10 charge, as it's not like you are going to suddenly put a V8 engine in your EV. I know what you mean. So for those of you outside the UK, in London, there is a congestion charge and an emissions charge. Now, there's a clean area. In the centre of London, you have to pay a lot of money if you drive like a big Range Rover or a big car, in which people do still to this day. You pay a fortune to do it. If you've got an electric vehicle, you have to register it as exempt, but it costs £10 a year. It's really not that bad. I don't think in the grand scheme of things, I think, you get such an advantage that you can get in. Once you've paid that 10 quid, you can drive in and out till you're blue in the face. 2nd of July. So, good. The contents of the battery investor day that Tesla are doing is on the 2nd of July, or hopefully before. Perfect timing would be the Swedish midsummer day, wouldn't it just? Wouldn't it just? Are you doing a show on Workhorse? Ooh, I don't know. No, I've not heard of that. I love hearing about new things. Will Tesla be doing the Swansea distributed home power thing? I think they might be. I don't know if I know the same thing. I know one thing that's going on there, so I don't know. With Alec from the English Electric Motor Company, motorcycles. Oh yeah, why not? Yeah, it's really. I mean, the thing is, we've made over 500 episodes. It's quite tiring, and it costs money because we pay camera operators, we pay editors, we pay all. There's a lot of people, so it's not. And it depends. And then if we have to travel there and we have to stay overnight, we have to pay for hotels, it gets to be quite an expensive process. And we're a self-funded, tiny little company. There's only a few of us. I know I haven't thanked everyone. Did I thank George and Andy? I think I did. And Stuart, yes, I did. And James, yes. Oh gosh, yes, I'm embarrassed now. How much did the Powerwall cost fully installed? It was about £4,500 for the first one. The second one I got given because that was from referral code. So if you have a Tesla and you have a referral code, if you drive a Tesla, and then other people can use your referral code, they get a reduction on the cost of their car, and you don't get money, you get advantages. So I've had a power adapter converter, so I can plug into more things in the last car I had in the Tesla Model S. And then in this one, because I sold so many Teslas, I got a free Powerwall, which is the red one, which you can see in episodes. So there's lots of things coming out. There are no single person cars available who are going to work every day. Can you give an overview of those in an episode? Why are there no single? Well, the only one I can think of is the Renault Twizy, which is a sort of single, because if you sit in the back, it's really uncomfortable. And it technically has two seats. So I think it's probably there's no market for it. If you asked someone in the motor manufacturing industry, they would tell you there would be a very limited market, and it's really expensive to develop a whole new car. It costs billions to do it. The Renault Twizy has horrible range. Well, it depends where you're driving. If you're driving 500 miles, yes, it's pathetic. But if you're not, it's not so bad. What is the future of charging walls? Oh, I have no idea. What's a charging wall? I love these questions. I'd have one of those Sono Motors solar EVs. I know, aren't they brilliant? I do hope they survive. Yes. Well, I mean, it's just the Sono Motors. Someone's asking about. Plug Seeker. Hi. Amazing car. There's an episode of Fully Charged about Sono Motors, lovely German company that are making a beautiful, small, like a Volkswagen e-up, like that scale, but covered in solar panels. And it's not like it would just drive forever on solar panels, but it would really add to its range for, when you just park it, just leave it outside and it's charging. It's kind of clever. Beautifully made, really simple car. Really love that car. And, they're a startup company. It's going to cost them a fortune to get going, to actually start manufacturing them in any numbers. And I just hope that they can do it. You're sat down at last. Have your piles cleared up now? So what is it with people and their comedy? I did a couple of episodes, an announcement on Fully Charged standing up. I was just bored of sitting down, so I just did it standing up. I don't have hemorrhoids. Just make that clear. With all the investigations I've had into my nether regions in the last 6 months, I think someone would have told me. Some people, right? Interesting news that Jaguar are talking to BYD about batteries. Yes, exactly. Yes, the new XJ. I'm kind of looking forward to it because the I-Pace is amazing. That car. It's not that fuel efficient. That would be my only criticism. But oh my Lord, it's amazing. And there's a lot of I-Pace taxis. If they're really catching on as taxis, sort of, upmarket taxis. Uber X. Actually, I haven't been in an Uber for years. Are you wearing pants? Yes. What the hell? What a question. Of course I am. I'm a respectable old gentleman. Um, any projections on battery range improvement in the next 5 years? Yes, massive, colossal. Well, battery energy density improves by a roughly 6% a year. And it has done for the last 10 years. So a battery now is 60% more energy dense than it was 10 years ago. So it's really making a difference. So yes, it will happen. Where's Maddie? She's easier on the eye. Yes, I cannot argue with that. I cannot deny that. And Maddie is recording shows for us at the moment. There's one coming very soon about food miles, which is actually really interesting because, I sometimes get annoyed when people go, I see you're eating strawberries. Have you considered the food miles? And I want to say a rude word to them. Really interesting conclusions they've come to about what food miles means, transporting food around the globe. So if you buy strawberries in the winter and they come from Chile, just think that cannot make sense. Watch this show. It is extraordinary. So Maddie's doing that, coming up soon. I'd love Maddie to do. I think when we're allowed to see each other again, I'll get Maddie to come here and we'll do a live broadcast together because she is great fun. She's such quality. She's a quality lady. She's a lady of quality. She's fantastic. And Helen Chesky. So Helen, I know she's got she's doing so much, Helen is. She's doing a lot of online stuff at the moment. But she is doing a series for us about really about batteries, the technology of batteries and what's happening with it. It's really exciting. What do you think the sweet spot in terms of maximum battery and charge speed balanced with weight and cost of vehicle? Yeah. What do we all think is the sweet spot? I would like to have a car that does 300 miles for real, actual 300 miles in the rain when it's windy in the winter. So if you drive it really carefully, you can probably get over 400. That's what I want. And I want it to be very, very small, size of a suitcase, and made out of material that can be used again and again, or so cheap. This is interesting when I talk to people about carbon batteries. So cheap and common, carbon, that you don't even bother to recycle it. You just kind of bury it because when it's dead, you just get rid of it. And it's carbon. It's not doing any damage. It's not poisoning anything. It's not littering. It's just some stuff that the world's made of, that the universe is made of. So that is quite interesting. Tesla Model S has just done more than 400 miles. I know that. What's Toyota waiting for? Very good question. I'm in contact with someone high up in Toyota, and there is some stuff happening, but I've been asked not to say anything about it. If you could have any, that's very good. If you could have any presenter on Fully Charged, who would you want to have? Someone that always agrees with you, or someone that challenges your viewpoint? Oh, definitely the second. You'd want someone that challenges you. But actually, I feel so lucky that we've got this amazing team that, we're in a kind of limbo at the moment, but they're all doing something. So Andy Talbot, amazing guy, who is going to be doing the sort of extreme end of electric transport and stuff, crazy electric bikes that are terrifying, all kinds of stuff. Rory Reid, who I've known for 10 years, was one of the very early shows I did about electric cars with Rory. He's brilliant. And he knows cars really well. The older I've got and the more cars I've driven, the less I seem to know about cars. So they're all brilliant. Helen Chesky, just amazing. Chelsea Sexton in America, incredible. Elliot Richards now in China. I'm just so thrilled to be working with Elliot. He's amazing. I've never met him in real life. We spent a lot of time talking to each other. I've not met him. And of course, Maddie Moat, who is just a legend. And so to have those people even prepared to talk to me at all, I mean, they don't have to talk to me very much, but to work on Fully Charged, that's a real, I feel that's a real achievement for the show, that there's people of that caliber that are prepared to work on the show. So it's really good. Get Jeremy Clarkson on. I'd love to. I would willingly do a podcast with Jeremy. I'm sure he'd be very funny. He always makes me laugh. I mean, I've only met him twice. I don't know him at all. I know that I've annoyed him enormously. I know that he has called me the most eye-wateringly disgraceful things. When I made Scrap Heap Challenge or Junkyard Wars in America, but particularly when we were here, 2 or 3 of our camera crew worked on Top Gear, which was still being made then with Jeremy Clarkson in it. And I'd occasionally stupidly get sucked in. So one of the cameramen, I'd meet him first thing in the morning when we arrived at the site to film Scrap Heap. I'd get out of my car and lovely cameraman come over and he'd say, "Oh, Robert, I was with Jeremy yesterday. He's got a message for you." And I go, "Oh, Jeremy's remembered it and it's got a message for me." And then he'd tell me the message, which was so profoundly offensive. I'm not going to repeat it. Very funny though, just made me laugh. So yeah, I very happily have him. James May watches Fully Charged. He did a video about it where he mentioned it. So that's very nice. And Richard Hammond, I've never met him, but I'm sure he's lovely. I know so many people who have worked with them, and he is. They all say Richard is delightful, and so is James May. I think Jeremy Clarkson is more challenging, but he's funny. He's a funny bloke. He makes me laugh. Don't agree with pretty much anything he's ever said in his life, but he's very funny. Are you getting rid of gas in your home? Yes. We just went to look, strangely enough, at a cooker today because we still have one gas, we've got a gas hob. So we're trying to get rid of all of it. So this year, the plan was this year for me to get rid of everything. So we have a gas central heating boiler, which we basically don't use because we did insulation. That's the one thing we did right when we did up our house 17 years ago was the insulation. I just went bananas, a massive amount of insulation, and that we barely need to heat the house. It's so warm. So it's all about insulation is so important. Save energy first and then generate your own is definitely the thing. Oh, right. I'm just pilfering this video for your 5th anniversary. Oh, that's good. Sorry, I don't know because I normally do know. I'm just going to, someone suggested someone. I mean, the thing is, we've got so many presenters now, we kind of don't need any more, but I will keep a note of that. Kirsty Guggen, Energy for Humanity, London. I like the title. Oh my God, no, it's getting solar panels without the batteries here in the UK. Yes, it is because it depends how you live. So if you work at home, without question, it does. If you're sort of housebound and you're there most during the day and you can use electricity in the day, if you can set timers on things like washing machines, dishwashers, water heaters, you can adapt your, and this is really, that's not an expensive thing to do. And you can put solar on your roof. I had solar on the roof without batteries for 10 years and it made a big difference. In the summer, our electricity bills were much less than they are now, than they were before. So definitely, yes. New electric boilers, yes, that's what I want. So what I'm trying to get is an electric boiler that fits in. We've got a wet heating system. Sounds a bit grubby, but like everybody, like water in radiators, and you heat the water and the radiators get hot. So we've got one of those already in the house, and you can replace the gas boiler with an electric one that does so it runs in the same way. So you don't have to replace everything throughout the house, but also heat batteries, really important. So Sunamp are a company we've done stuff with before. And we're going to do more shows with them, which have heat batteries that store heat they basically store heat for a long period of time, which you can then call on later. So you can generate the heat with solar or with cheap electricity at night and use it in the day. Have you seen Engineering Explained video on the 1 second to 60 roads to rockets? No, and I just worry for human beings being accelerated from 0 to 60 in a second. It can't be good. God, that's happy zappy charger. Yes. Can we go back to Orkney? One day I'd love to go back to Orkney. For the 5th time, where's Johnny these days? So I can now see what's happening is people are posting a question, they see it, and it just goes on and on. There's so many. Johnny is he's probably at home, and he's making shows for his channel, Car Pervert. Shows about cars that not just electric cars. He does do electric cars because he's really positive about electric cars, but he loves big American muscle cars and all sorts of stuff. So he just didn't. It's just so he's not on Fully Charged anymore, but he's still around. For your hot water and heating, what about looking at the infrared water heaters? Yeah, so my water heater is, as regards hot water, we've got no problems. We use a Mixergy water heater, which is amazing, and there's an episode about it on Fully Charged. Brilliant, amazing. Mixergy, Mixergy. It's really worth having a look at that. Um, what is amazing is there's a message. How did you get that? How did you know to do that? So John Guilu has posted a message that has been held for review, but it's got no bad language in it or anything rude. It just says Bobby loves self-charging hybrids. But I think YouTube knows that is so profoundly offensive, the term self-charging hybrids, that it's highlighted it. I'm going to show because so I'm making it. How did that even work? How did you manage to get that? Is it because it's all in block caps, so it's shouting? I don't know. Clever. People are you young people are very clever. I think I've done way too much. I've got to go and have my tea. So I am going to do I'm going to go because there's so many questions coming in, obviously, and there's still 1,600 of you watching, which is amazing. So anyway, that's all. It was lovely to have a good old waffle with you all. I don't know how long. I don't even want to know how long I've done. Too bloody long. I know that, and I've now used a bad word. The sun out video on fully charged is gone. I don't think so. I hope not. No, I'll try and. I mean, I'm going to check after this is over and find out, but I'm pretty sure it's still there. Look, you've been amazing. This has been an extraordinary. I just made such a mess of it to start with, and I managed to salvage it. Really didn't. I should have had a little bit more time to prep. It all went a bit crazy just before I said I'd do this. But I'm really grateful for you watching and sticking with me for a long time. 1,500 people. Amazing. You're all amazing. Please do continue to watch Fully Charged. There's a new episode up now with me and Elliot, and then there's a new episode coming tomorrow about the I can't say it in Chinese, Xpeng P7. Pretty impressive electric car coming from China. It's going to be in Europe soon. It's quite cheap and it goes quite fast. Anyway, a lot more of that soon. Please stick with Fully Charged for another decade, as people are saying. That's very kind of you. Let's hope we can do another 10 years. It's been amazing. The first 10 years have been amazing. So that's it. Please subscribe to Fully Charged. Don't even look at the Patreon link. I haven't mentioned it. You're all lovely. Thank you so much. And if you have been, thank you for watching.